Hello once again, comic fans. I'm back yet again with another video. I've got a little collection of some hardbacks and some collected editions, some stuff I've had for a while, a couple of things I've just recently got. We'll show them. Okay, first thing I got here is it's a hardback edition, Volume 2 of Secret Society of Supervillains. Now this is always one of my favorite titles as a kid. It's a quirky little book. I mean, I don't know what it was, but DC had a lot of books in the 70s where, you had 13 different artists and 15 issues, some of it I liked, some of it I didn't, but I just kind of like the idea of a supervillain group, and you had like the one main protagonist, I guess, Captain Comet there. He was going against him all the time. But this is the second volume. I think it covers like issues 10 through 15 and JLA 166 through 168 and some unpublished stuff that's inside too. I'll kind of give you a look at what's going on here. This is a great Rich Buckler, Jack Abel cover. I think it was actually the cover to DC Special Series on the supervillains. But there's just some great stories and art in this. To me, one of the highlights was issues 13 through 15, because the Crime Syndicate of Earth 3 was always one of my favorite supervillain groups, and has some of the Secret Society going against them, with Captain Comet kind of hung in the middle of it. But here's some of this. And it's by one of my favorite artists you don't hear a whole lot about anymore, is Mike Glasberg. He did a lot of the She-Hulk stuff in the 70s. He did some black and white work. I just love the guy's art, though. Just kind of loose and fluid. And here's another one of the covers from the inside. More Crime Syndicate. Now the Secret Society of Supervillains, it was one of the victims of the DC implosion, and I'm really interested in that period, because there's a lot of books around that time that I was reading and just got canceled. This was after the announcement of the DC explosion, when they were expanding all their books. They were you could get like 44 pages for 50 cents. There was going to be backup features, and I think it lasted like a couple of issues. And I think there were some distribution problems. I think there was like a blizzard that caused some books not to get delivered, and DC pretty much lost their rear ends in that deal. So they had to cancel a bunch of books, and a lot of the art that they already had in the can. I'm sure some of you DC fans have heard of the canceled comic cavalcade. They Xeroxed the art from the unpublished books, and there's only like 35 copies. And I think they gave them to a lot of the DC staffers and the artists, just for copyright purposes. But those are like the originals are worth quite a bit of money now. But I got on eBay several years ago, and I found a guy, and I got like some second or third generation copies of all the Xerox black and white art for those books. And I'll be doing a video on that a little bit later. But this shows what would have been Secret Society 16, and it's just the black and white art for 16. It's more Mike Glasberg. And here's a good page with one of Batman's old villains, the Blockbuster, Killer Moth. And this was supposed to be in for issue 17. The art is pretty loose in this because I don't think it's been inked. And it's kind of hard to really see it. It kind of gives you a good idea, you know, for anybody that's interested in where they were going with this series. And in the back of this, it reprints Justice League of America 166 through 168. And anybody that's read the Identity Crisis that came out a few years ago, just a great story by Meltzer Morales. This is actually how this story started. So this reprints 166 through 168 as part of that great Dick Dillon run. Of course, back then the society consisted of Reverse Flash, you know, Professor Zoom, the Wizard, Star Sapphire, Blockbuster, and Plant Master, the Floronic Man. So, but that's just I need to get. I've got all the originals, but I want to get the other volume just so I have it to read. That's a good little series. There's art in there from Rich Buckler, Jack Abel, Al Milgrom. You know, it's just a fun little book. Anybody that likes it. Okay, this next one I'm sure a lot of you have read, but this is a trade paperback of the first Starman Omnibus, James Robinson and Tony Harris. I think this reprints like the first 16 issues plus the 0 issue. And anybody that's read this, you know, it's just great. It's one of the best comics that ever came out in the 90s. One of the few, because comic-wise, the 90s kind of sucked. But you know, it's just got great Tony Harris art in it. Just great writing in this book. And even after Tony Harris left, I think James Robinson, he did the whole run. There's like 80 issues, not counting the annuals and the 0 issue. But yeah, this is just a great read. I mean, once you start reading this, you can't put it down. So I would recommend this to anybody. Okay, and this just recently came out. A little hardback, Batman Earth 1. Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. Of course, you know, Jeff Johns, he's a great writer. Gary Frank, he's one of my favorite artists. This is sort of like the Superman Earth 1, sort of like a realistic take on it. You know, there's Alfred. He looks a little bit different. Gary Frank, you know, he did a lot of work on the Hulk several years ago. He did some JLA work. Squadron Supreme, another one of my favorite series, or Supreme Power, came out a few years ago. He was on that. So it's just a great book. It's a little bit different take on Batman, but again, I would recommend this. Okay, some older stuff. I have a hardback slipcase edition of Kingdom Come. Yeah. You have the story in there, and there's a little companion book. I think the version I got, was signed. There's the front cover. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's got the Kingdom Come Superman S on it. There it is. But anybody that's read Kingdom Come knows what a great story it is. This one's autographed by Mark Waid, Alex Ross. Of course, you know, what can you say about Alex Ross that hadn't already been said? You know, the guy's just great. Of course, you know, I had the original, and I think I even had a couple trades of it. But the cool thing about this is the companion book, Revelations. And it's got a lot of great stuff, concept sketches for the characters. Green Lantern, Hawkman, a lot of the background on the characters. And in the back, there's a little section called Keys to the Kingdom. And it actually tells who all is in each panel of the story. You know, it's just another great resource for people that love Kingdom Come. You know, you got a gallery in the back of some of the promo stuff. And it shows step by step how Alex Ross did a page. And shows some of the people that he used for models. His father, of course, was Norman McKay. Guys that posed for Superman and Batman, Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel. Yeah, this is just it's worth getting this book, or this slipcase set just for this book. Okay, here's another book I've wanted for a while. I just recently got. Back in the 80s, Marvel did a series, or they did a book. It was, you know, had Mary Shelley's original Frankenstein, but it had illustrations by Bernie Wrightson. So this is Wrightson'S Frankenstein. I think Marvel's came out in '83, and Dark Horse came back out with this in like 2008. But like I say, it contains the original novel, and like every few pages you have these beautiful Bernie Wrightson illustrations. I mean, just, you know, it's just awesome. There's some more. Just look at this. This is great. And it's funny, I never had read the original Frankenstein, so I'm kind of looking forward to digging into this, and I haven't got to read it yet. So, but you know, it's got illustrations, you know, throughout. You know, just best stuff Bernie Wrightson ever did. His Swamp Thing was pretty good, but you know, it's just beautiful stuff. But I got this for a ridiculous price, so I couldn't pass it up. And last thing I got here, I have the slipcase edition of the Absolute Crisis on Infinite Earths. And of course, you have the whole story reprint here. It's a bigger format, so you can see George Perez's work a little bit better in this one. Then you have the compendium book, but it's got a great wraparound cover on the case. George Perez and Alex Ross. You know, it goes all the way around. And of course, anybody that's read Crisis knows what a great story it is. And Perez did a new cover for the story inside. Of course, you know, just great stuff there. And this is another cool book, the compendium, and it kind of covers you know, how they came up with the concept, anatomy of a crisis, how they began, you know, synopsis and story ideas. And there was actually a kill list in here, the people they were going to get rid of. And here's a little handwritten note to Jeanette Kahn from Dick Jordan, the editor. It says, can we kill Supergirl? And yes, we can. But you have a crisis index. It lists like every Earth, you know, and every story. Every character that was in it, all the Crisis crossovers, official and unofficial. So anybody that loves Crisis, I mean, this is a book to have. So. Okay. All I got for now, guys. Till next time.